Now approaching 7.5 minutes until launch. The final status check from ULA's launch conductor is moments away. Everything continues to look good for an on-time liftoff at 4:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The countdown clock is in a built-in hold right now at T-minus 4 minutes. That clock will resume at 4:34 p.m. Eastern Time, assuming the final poll does result in a go for launch.
L minus 7 minutes.
Status check to proceed. Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems.
Go.
Propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics. Pneumatics.
Go.
Pneumatics. LO2.
Go.
LO2. Water.
Go.
Go.
Water. Centaur systems.
Go.
Propulsion. Centaur systems.
Go.
Propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
ASGAT.
Go.
Electrical systems.
Go.
Airborne. Ground.
Go.
Ground. Facility.
Go. Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
Operation support.
Go.
COM.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Ops safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
Go.
Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with account. ALC. Verified T0 is set for 2138 Zulu.
Verified.
L minus 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
NSC. Verified spacecraft is configured for launch.
Spacecraft is configured for launch.
All steps complete prior to terminal count.
Three, two, one. Mark. 3:55.
Ground pyros enabled.
And you have heard the poll from the ULA's launch conductor gave a unanimous go for launch, and the countdown clock has resumed T-minus 4 minutes. Everything looking good for an on-time launch this afternoon.
Three minutes.
Securing LO2 top.
Atlas.
250.
SCS internal.
1:59.
Now less than 2 minutes to
1:55.
go.
Launch sequencer start.
The
150.
automatic launch sequencer
Securing
has been
Centaur,
initiated.
LH2.
Securing Centaur.
This time the
LO2.
Atlas first stage and Centaur upper stage are switching to internal power. And the first
140.
stage propellant tanks have
Launch
been
enabled.
pressurized for flight.
137.
FTS armed.
$120.
SCS count started.
115.
Reduce ECS for launch.
Roger.
110.
Vent valves locked.
One minute.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
Now less than 60 seconds to go. The range is green. Everything looking good for launch of the Atlas V with GOES-T, heading to geostationary orbit to provide weather imagery and weather data across the Pacific
40
Ocean
seconds.
and the western United
Stable at
States.
step 3.
We'll listen in to ULA's launch team as they call out the final seconds of the countdown. T-minus 30
28.
seconds.
Verify ECS reduced for launch.
Verified.
25.
Status check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur.
Go goes T.
Parameters look good. View has gone to closed loop control. The RD-180 is now throttling down as expected. Engine response looks good. We are now 33 seconds into
Atlas
flight.
V is away
Atlas
from Cape
is
Canaveral. Atlas
3
V
miles
lifting
in
off
altitude,
with the GOES-T weather
9
satellite.
miles downrange distance.
The Rumble now reaching our location at the Kennedy Space
We
Center
have
press
passed
site.
through Mach 1. Vehicle is now
Rocket
passing
now
through
supersonic.
maximum dynamic pressure. Now, 55 seconds into flight, Atlas is 7 miles in altitude, 4 miles downrange distance, traveling at 1,900 miles per hour. RD-180 is now throttling back up. Now, at 75 seconds into flight, Atlas is 13 miles in altitude, 10 miles downrange distance, traveling at 2,700 miles per hour. Now at 90 seconds into flight, ULA's Atlas V rocket weighs now just 1/2 of what it did at launch, burning propellant at a rate of more than 2,600 pounds per second.
Spectacular onboard camera views coming down from the Atlas V.
SRBs have burned out as expected, and we see a good SRB jettison.
And there's jettison, beautiful views
Vehicle's
as
now
the
executing closed
4
loop
strap-on
steering.
motors are jettisoned from the Atlas V.
Vehicle performance looks good at this time. Now 135 seconds into flight. The RD-180 has throttled down slightly. Vehicle performance continues to look good at this time. Tank pressures are stable and Atlas booster battery voltages remain in their expected ranges. Now the upper stage is preparing for its use. Centaur reaction control system is now pressurizing to flight levels.
Now T+3 minutes with those 4 strap-on boosters away. The Atlas V now being powered by the RD-180 main engine. Coming up on payload fairing
Just
jettison.
over 1 minute until BECO. We're now seeing the RD-180 throttle limiting to maintain a 2.5 G acceleration limit. Standing by for payload fairing jettison. And we've seen a successful payload fairing jettison. RD-180 is throttled back up now.
And we saw that 5.4 meter
The
diameter
vehicle has reached the
payload fairing jettison cleanly.
4.6 G acceleration limit and will maintain this level through BECO. We've seen that the Centaur has begun its boost phase chill down sequence. And BECO, booster engine cutoff. Standing by for stage separation and a successful stage separation event. We've seen pre-start on the RL-10. And mass 1, we have ignition for the first burn. This first burn of ULA's Centaur upper stage will place the GOES-T spacecraft into a parking orbit around the Earth. This burn will last just over 7 minutes. We're seeing the expected activity on the reaction control system as it begins its periodic firings to maintain thermal control conditioning. Upper stage systems look good at this time. Hydrazine line temperatures are approaching the bottle temperature as expected. The engine propellant utilization system has gone to closed loop control, and the engine response remains nominal. I just received word from the trajectory and performance group that booster performance was as expected for the booster phase of flight. Centaur propellant tank pressures are stable at this time, as are Centaur main battery voltages.
Now less than 4 minutes left in this first burn by the Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10 engine on the Centaur upper stage. This burn will place the GOES-T satellite into a parking orbit. As we've heard from ULA's telemetry commentator, so far so good with this 90-second flight of an Atlas V rocket. Good performance from those 4 strap-on boosters and the first stage and its RD-180 main engine. And this first RL-10 Centaur burn now more than halfway complete. The rocket heading due east out over the Atlantic Ocean. As you heard from ULA's telemetry commentator, about 90 seconds left in this RL-10 engine burn to place the GOES-T weather satellite into a low-altitude parking orbit. In the upper right of your screen, you can see some live telemetry data. That perigee altitude is currently in the negative. That will go positive shortly before cutoff of the RL-10 engine to confirm that the Centaur is orbital. Centaur performance
continues to look good across the board. 30 seconds remaining in this first burn of the upper stage. We have IIP vanish. The Centaur is now orbital. The PU system has gone open loop. Standing by for the end of the burn. And we have MECO. Main engine has cut off. At this time, the GOES-T spacecraft and ULA's Centaur upper stage are in an unpowered coast phase that will last approximately 11 minutes. The coast allows the vehicle to move to the optimal orbital position in the orbit prior to beginning the second main engine burn.
kilometers and an inclination of 21.1 degrees to the equator. The Atlas V is coasting out over the Atlantic Ocean. The Centaur upper stage will reignite its RL-10 engine about the time that it gets to the equator to begin maneuvers to climb into a higher orbit and maneuver into an orbit closer to the equator with a lower inclination. 3 burns are planned today. The first burn is already complete. That second burn due to begin.
All vehicle systems continue to operate as expected during this coast phase. We're about 14.5 minutes into flight with 8 minutes remaining in this first coast.
The expected ignition time for the second Centaur burn is T plus 23 minutes and 39 seconds. And that burn will last nearly 5 minutes.